Country music superstar Tim McGraw, he collapsed while performing in Ireland last night.
Faith and I are really trying to do all the time is empower our girls to know that they can accomplish anything they want to accomplish. They can do anything they want to do and not let anything hold them back.
Tim McGraw is one of the very few artists who can wrap pain, hope, and strength all into a single verse. But what happens when he's the one facing heartbreak? What happens when the man who sings about loss and resilience suddenly has to live it in real time? His daughter is speaking out, and the way she said goodbye, it'll break your heart and patch it back together. This isn't just some sad celebrity headline. It's raw, it's real, so sit tight. Because what you're about to hear isn't just about a diagnosis, it's about love, it's about legacy. The moment everything changed. It all started with a trip to Ireland back in 2018, and let me tell you, from that moment on, their whole world began to change fast. Tim McGraw is on stage doing what he does best, giving a heartfelt performance of Humble and Kind, which, let's be honest, is already enough to bring a crowd to tears. The man's pouring his soul into the mic, and then he just collapses. People were stunned. And then out comes Faith Hill. Always the steady one, right? She gets up in front of everyone and calmly says, "He's been super dehydrated and I apologize, but I made the decision that he cannot come back out on stage." Faith didn't just save the show. She reminded everyone that Tim was, first and foremost, a human being, not some machine. But that moment was more than dehydration. It was a huge wake-up call. Because after that, it became clear that Tim wasn't just tired, he was struggling. His body had been whispering to him for a while, but now it was screaming. When the world found out about Tim's tragic diagnosis, fans were crushed. But for his daughter, it wasn't just a headline. It was her world turning upside down. How do you say goodbye to the man who taught you everything? How do you find the words when your heart is breaking? And what exactly did she say in that emotional moment that has everyone talking? So please, stick with us till the very end, because the final words she shared with her dad might just bring you to tears. The wear and tear of decades in the music industry, the constant touring, the physical demands, it had all started catching up. Over the next few years, his health took some serious hits, especially his bones and joints. And by 2024, things had gotten really rough. I mean, the man had to go through surgery on both knees. Not one, both. And as if that wasn't enough, doctors told him he'd need back surgery too. And not the quick kind where you're up and about in a few weeks. This one required months of recovery, therapy, and a whole lot of patience. Naturally, this meant Tim had to make some heartbreaking calls. He pulled the plug on the rest of his standing room only tour, which, if you know Tim, you know how much that must have torn him up inside. Touring isn't just work for him, it's life, it's joy. And on top of that, he had to step away from a Netflix series about bull riding that he was really excited about. Someone close to the family even said, "He's in a hell of a lot of pain now, and once the surgery is done, he'll need months of recovery and therapy sessions." And just like that, everything shifted. Not just for Tim, but for everyone around him, especially his daughter Gracie. You know how it is when someone you love is hurting. You feel it deep, like it's happening to you. And for Gracie, this wasn't the first time she had seen her dad struggle. In fact, she had been the one to spark his health journey years ago. And through it all, the family circled the wagons. Faith was there, as she always is, calm and encouraging. I mean, say what you will about celebrity couples, but those two, they're solid. Someone close said, She's always so good at reminding him to focus on all he has to be grateful for. And honestly, don't we all need someone like that? Someone who sees the silver linings when all we can see are the dark clouds? But let's not forget Gracie in all this. She wasn't just watching her dad go through this. She was dealing with her own stuff, too. She's been grinding away in New York's theater scene, auditions, rehearsals, chasing a dream that doesn't make space for off days. And now, she had the added weight of worry for her dad. And let's not forget the emotional side of distance. Gracie's in New York. Her parents are in Nashville. And yeah, there's FaceTime and text and all that, but come on, nothing beats being there in person. That guilt of not being physically present when your family's hurting? That's real. It eats at you, especially when you're the kind of person who always wants to do something, to help in any way you can. And then there's this deeper layer to everything, something that hits close to home for the McGraw's. Tim lost his own father, Tug McGraw, to glioblastoma in 2004. That's an aggressive brain tumor, and Tug was only 59 when he passed. That loss haunted Tim. It shaped him. So now, facing his own health struggles, he's not just dealing with the physical pain. He's wrestling with the memories of what his dad went through, and you better believe his daughters feel that too. It's like this family legacy of fighting health battles has circled back, and now it's Gracie's turn to watch her dad go through something she hoped she'd never have to see. Finding strength in shared struggles. Gracie McGraw has been going through this really personal, often painful health journey before her dad's health issues even hit the headlines. Most people didn't even know she had been quietly facing her own medical struggles. And it wasn't just something small either. It was something that so many women go through but rarely talk about out loud. PCOS. You know, polycystic ovary syndrome. That condition that seems super common but is still, somehow, so misunderstood. Gracie didn't just wake up one day and say, "Yep, I've got it." No, she had to go through a pretty complicated process to even get that diagnosis. She finally opened up about it in March 2022. And let me tell you, when she shared it on Instagram, it wasn't some glossy, filtered announcement. It was raw. It was real. It was one of those posts that you could feel in your chest. She said, "I just wanted to share really quick that I have recently been diagnosed with PCOS." And you could just tell she wasn't doing it for attention. She wanted to help someone out there who might be feeling the same confusing symptoms: weight gain, fatigue, irregular periods, but not knowing what the heck was happening. And girl, we all know how brutal weight issues can be, especially when it feels like your body is working against you. She even said, "During my appointment with my endocrinologist, I realized that may have been a factor in my issues with weight." Isn't that just heartbreaking? To realize you've been blaming yourself for something your body literally can't control. And look, PCOS isn't just about weight gain. It affects so many things: energy levels, skin, mood, hormones, and let's not even get started on how it messes with your mental health. According to Dr. Rekha Kumar, who has worked with tons of PCOS patients, it's not just a hormone issue, it's a full-on metabolic issue. Like, your body basically overreacts to carbs and makes extra insulin. And guess what insulin does? It stores fat. So you can see how someone like Gracie might have felt trapped in her own skin, doing all the right things but getting nowhere. Isn't it wild how the very thing your body needs for energy can turn into your biggest enemy? After she got the diagnosis, she didn't just sit with it. She did something. She went on medications usually given to people with type 2 diabetes because, plot twist, they help with PCOS too. She started with Qsymia and Ozempic, then eventually moved to Mounjaro. And listen, These meds were not about trying to be thin for the camera or to look good on Instagram. They were about regulating her insulin response, treating the root of the problem. And soon, her body started to change. Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally too. She even said, "The medicine I'm taking has given me a body I haven't had in years in a good way, though." Like, can we just pause there? Because how often do you hear someone talk about weight and health in such a kind, forgiving way? And of course, it wasn't just about how her body looked. It was about loving her body again, maybe for the first time. That's powerful. She said she was finding new ways to love her and new things to love about her every day. Honestly, that line alone deserves a standing ovation. Because don't we all just want to look in the mirror and not criticize ourselves for once? But here's the thing most people miss. Gracie's health journey wasn't just physical. She openly talked about having really bad ADHD, along with anxiety and depression. That combo? It's rough. It's like your brain is constantly flipping between chaos and panic. And then your body isn't cooperating either. That kind of daily battle can wear anyone down. But she got really intentional about tackling her mental health before anything else. And I mean, isn't that the part we usually ignore? How often do we try to diet, or work out, or change something about our bodies without even considering what's happening in our minds? She said, "I don't think that I would have ever allowed myself to go to a doctor's appointment like this unless I had taken the correct steps toward my mental health." And wow, isn't that so real? Like, you can't even begin to fix what's on the outside if your inside is falling apart. What really helped her? A mix of things, honestly. Consistency, for one. She said, "Having something that is consistent has really helped with mental health stuff for me." And doesn't that just hit home? When life feels unpredictable, having something, anything, steady can feel like a life raft. She also started spending more time in nature. Going out in nature more became her version of a reset button. And who can blame her? Sometimes a walk among trees is better than a therapy session. And maybe one of the most underrated things? She started embracing her independence. She said she was comfortable being alone because she had a great support system in terms of friends. And her family, of course, is amazing. Like, imagine being part of one of the most famous families in music, but still taking the time to really find yourself on your own. That takes guts. And somewhere along the way, her whole perspective on chronic illness changed. She stopped blaming herself. Can you believe that? After years of probably thinking, "What am I doing wrong?" she realized this is a medical condition, not a personal failure. Another woman with PCOS had said, "It wasn't until I went on Mounjaro and realized it's a chronic disease, and you weren't the problem." That hit Gracie deeply. Because, wow, how many people are walking around thinking they're broken when really, their body just needs support. And then, of course, her dad's health struggles came into the picture. And suddenly, all the lessons she had learned about managing her own condition gave her this deep, personal understanding of what it's like to face serious health stuff in the family. Tim McGraw has been very open about how his father died young, only 59, from brain cancer. That kind of loss leaves a mark. And Tim himself has spoken about diabetes awareness, especially how it affects people from all walks of life. He said, "I've seen firsthand how diabetes impacts people from all walks of life, including my family, friends, and fans." So you can see how Gracie's story and Tim's story kind of overlap in this quiet, powerful way. When Tim received a diagnosis that no one saw coming, his family was left stunned. But it was his daughter's quiet goodbye that truly broke people's hearts. What did she say? How is Tim coping behind closed doors? And what does this mean for the future of a man who's given so much to country music and to his family? We're going deep into the moment that shook their family and touched millions. Sit tight, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand what happened, you'll feel it. The role of family in times of crisis. You know how some families just crumble when life gets tough? Well, the McGraw household is literally the complete opposite of that. It's like their love and support multiply when things start going downhill. Honestly, it's kind of beautiful to watch, especially when you realize just how much they lean on each other when someone's not doing well. Tim McGraw, bless his heart, has been through a lot when it comes to his health. And it's not just a one-time thing, it's been a roller coaster. But you wouldn't even know it, just by looking at how strong his family has stood beside him through every dip and turn. It's like their house turned into this quiet, powerful little fortress of love, healing, and togetherness. And if you've ever wondered what it looks like when a family genuinely has each other's back, this is it. Now, let's talk about Faith Hill for a second because, wow, that woman is something else. She's not just Tim's wife. She's like his rock, his soft place to land. And, honestly, probably his biggest cheerleader rolled into one. Can you imagine being in the middle of a health scare and having someone by your side who's not just making sure you take your meds, but also whispering reminders about everything you still have to be grateful for? That's Faith. She's been keeping his spirits high, making sure his mindset doesn't go to a dark place, and reminding him that there's still so much beauty around him, even on the bad days. And it's not like this is new for her either. I mean, these two have been married for almost 3 decades. That's nearly 30 years of growing together, supporting each other, surviving everything from personal struggles to full-blown health crises. And still, here she is, holding it down like it's her life's mission. But wait, it doesn't stop with just Faith. Nope. Their daughters, Gracie, Maggie, and Audrey, are like this powerhouse trio of love and light. It's actually kind of amazing how close they are, even as grown women with their own lives. You'd think distance or age might have changed things, but nope. They're still singing together in videos, showing off this insane musical bond that clearly runs deep in their bloodline. And those moments? They're not just about music, they're about connection. It's like they use music to stay emotionally in sync, to express the things that are too heavy to say out loud. Have you ever seen a family sing through their pain and somehow turn it into joy? That's them. Every time they show up together, it reminds you just how healing shared moments can be. Gracie especially, she's been pretty open about her own health struggles and the way she talks about her family. It'll hit you right in the chest. She literally said, "My family's amazing," and you can tell she means every word. It's not just fluff. When you've been through tough times yourself, having that kind of unconditional support, it's everything. And what's even more beautiful is how the care doesn't just flow in one direction. It's not just Tim or Gracie getting all the love. It's this back and forth thing. Everyone gives. Everyone receives. It's honestly like this quiet little circle of strength that just keeps spinning. And then there's the way they rallied around Faith's dad when he got sick. They didn't just sit around hoping things would get better. Nope, they got organized. They used this care management platform that helped them coordinate everything. Appointments, documents, treatment plans, you name it. And that's not something you really hear about in celebrity families, right? It wasn't about being glamorous. It was about being present, being involved, and making sure their loved one felt supported every single step of the way. And can we take a second to appreciate how the McGraw's find ways to keep joy alive, even when life is heavy? I'm talking about their holiday-themed nights. I mean, who does that? Dressing up in costumes based on movies or books, creating menus that match the theme, and only using stuff they can find around the house to create their looks. That's not just adorable, it's genius. It's this little slice of normalcy that keeps them grounded when everything else feels chaotic. Think about it. You're battling illness. You're dealing with grief. But then you get to dress up as a character from your favorite show and laugh with your family over dinner. That's medicine, too, in its own way. And the best part? Even when they're spread out across the country, like when Gracie's in New York chasing Broadway dreams, they don't lose that connection. They're FaceTiming, texting, and showing up in each other's lives in any way they can. It doesn't matter how far apart they are because of their bond. It's unshakable. Even when they lost their beloved dog, Stromboli, they found a way to grieve together, support each other, and keep moving forward. Because that's what this family does. They don't run from pain. They walk through it, hand in hand. And it's not just me romanticizing this. There's actual research that backs it up. When families are this involved in each other's care, everything improves. Health literacy, emotional recovery, and even clinical decisions, it all gets better. And that's exactly what you see with the McGraw's. They're not perfect, but they show up. They love hard. They respect each other deeply. Tim's even said that his daughters are the life of the party and that they inspire him. Like, how often do you hear a dad say that? Not just, I'm proud of them, but they inspire me? That's the kind of mutual love and admiration that carries people through the darkest seasons. Tim's pride in his daughters is just so genuine. He talks about how they're strong, independent, and grounded, and you can tell that's not just something he says to sound good in an interview. It's real. He's proud, not because they're famous or talented, which they are, but because they're good people. And in a world where fame can make people lose themselves, that's saying something. So yeah, if there's one thing the McGraw family shows us, it's that love is the best medicine. That emotional bonds matter more than anything else when your body starts to fail you. And that no matter how scary things get, when your family wraps you up in that kind of unwavering support, you find the strength to keep going. They're a living, breathing example of how to face life's storms without falling apart. And honestly, we could all learn a little something from them.
Turning pain into purpose. You know how sometimes life just throws everything at you at once, and you either break or somehow, miraculously, begin to find your purpose through all the chaos? That's exactly what happened with Gracie McGraw. Her story isn't some picture-perfect Instagram transformation or one of those overly dramatized Hollywood redemptions. Nah, Gracie's journey is real. Like, real. It's messy and raw and full of those moments where you feel like you're barely holding on. But then something shifts. Purpose, for her, didn't just magically appear one day. It came crawling out of some of her darkest moments, the kind that a lot of people don't talk about out loud. See, Gracie has been super open about her struggles with both her mental and physical health. And let's be honest, not many people have the guts to do that, especially in the public eye. She's dealt with things like PCOS, ADHD, anxiety, and depression all at once. Can you even imagine how overwhelming that must be? But instead of hiding behind it or pretending it's all fine, she's chosen to turn her pain into something bigger, something that helps others. It's like she's decided, okay, this is hard, but maybe if I talk about it, someone else out there won't feel so alone.
One of the most powerful things Gracie ever shared, and it still gives people chills, is how she explained the link between her mental and physical health. It's that kind of raw honesty that makes people connect with her. Gracie's not out here pretending she's got it all figured out. She talks about the hard stuff, the depressive episodes that knock her off her feet. One time, she mentioned going through a severe one that lasted about 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's not just a rough day or two. That's waking up every morning feeling like you're drowning, not knowing when it'll end. And then one day, something just clicked for her. She said, "It hit me the next day that I really needed to get back to myself or I was going to fully lose it." That kind of awareness, that takes strength most people can't even imagine. And she's not just talking the talk. Gracie's been walking the walk. She's found ways to take care of herself that go beyond the typical drink water and do yoga advice we all hear. She's been really open about how managing her medications consistently has been a game changer. Like she put it, having something that is consistent has really helped with mental health stuff for me. It's not about some magic cure. It's about creating structure, even if it's just one small piece of the puzzle. But it's not just about meds or doctor visits for her. One of the sweetest, most relatable things she mentioned was how going outside more often, just stepping into nature, has become a big part of her healing. Isn't that so simple, yet so underrated? Like, when was the last time any of us just stood outside, took a deep breath, and let the sunlight hit our face without scrolling through our phones? For Gracie, those quiet moments have started to feel like therapy. And honestly, that kind of self-awareness is inspiring. She's not out here pretending she's got all the answers. She's still learning, still figuring things out, and still dealing with the ups and downs that come with chronic conditions and mental health battles. But what's different is how she's choosing to share her process, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. And in doing so, she's quietly helping people everywhere feel seen, heard, and a little less ashamed of what they're going through. Tim McGraw has always been the rock of his family. But when a tragic diagnosis suddenly changed everything, it was his daughter who had to step into the hardest moment of all. But what did she say? Why now? And how is the family really holding up behind the scenes? This is more than just a story about a famous singer. It's about a father, a daughter, and the most painful words they've ever had to share. Don't miss a second, because the truth behind her goodbye will hit you right in the heart. Honoring a father's legacy. Tim McGraw has a bond with his daughters, especially Gracie. Like, it goes way beyond music and concerts and awards. This man has literally poured his heart and soul into shaping not just a legacy of talent, but a legacy of values, integrity, and real-life lessons that his girls are holding on to. Tim McGraw, to the outside world, might just be this big country music icon, right? The cowboy hat, the voice, the sold-out shows. But to his daughters, he's so much more. He's like this walking, breathing example of what it means to be resilient, honest, and human. And Gracie, being the outspoken and soulful one she is, seems to have this special connection with him that's just different. You know, that kind of relationship where a dad and daughter are not just family, but friends? That's them. But what really makes it beautiful is that Tim didn't just stay stuck in the provider role or the famous dad box. He evolved. He grew, stumbled, got back up, and kept growing. Isn't that what we all want from our parents? Now here's the part that really gets you in the feels. Gracie is the one who kind of gave him that wake-up call. She straight up told her dad, "Geez, Dad, you need to do something," when she saw how his health was taking a turn. And get this, he listened. He took it seriously. He made real changes. That moment wasn't just about health. It was about trust, vulnerability, mutual respect. And that shifted everything in their relationship. Because it's one thing to be a good dad when everything's fine and dandy, but to let your child see you at your lowest and still choose to rise up, that's next-level parenting. And you can tell how much Tim values letting his daughters be their own people. Like, he's so proud of how strong-minded and independent they are. He doesn't want mini versions of himself. He wants them to be them. Whether it's Gracie chasing her Broadway dreams or her sisters diving into totally different interests, he's just there, cheering them on from the sidelines, never trying to steer them into his world unless they want to. And isn't that the kind of support we all crave? That quiet, unwavering, I've got your back no matter what kind of love? Now, Gracie, on her end, isn't just taking notes. She's living the values her dad taught her. But what's so cool is that she's not trying to be a carbon copy of him. She's got her own flavor, her own fire. She's taken everything she's learned from watching her dad and translated it into her own journey. From being open about her struggles with PCOS to speaking up about mental health, she's walking the walk. It's not performative, it's personal. She's learned, like her dad, that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's actually where the real strength lives. And let's be honest, how many people are brave enough to talk about the hard stuff publicly, just so others feel less alone? That's big. She's also learned how to balance things that so many of us struggle with, like keeping family ties strong even when life gets chaotic, and treating her mental health and physical health with equal care. And what's even more touching is how Gracie holds it all together now, especially with the uncertainty around Tim's health. It's like she's become this beacon of quiet strength, not in the loud, dramatic kind of way, but in that steady, dependable, compassionate way that makes you feel safe just being around her. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.